Yeah. Oh, the cop did go away. Oh, there's the cop behind me. Got me a little sketched out and all that. Anyways, was pulling away from this load that I was just on here from Virginia to Michigan. It was a 3-stop load, and all the stops, like one of the stops was like literally up the road from the other one, so it kind of made it a little bit worse. I don't know. I would prefer to have a little more distance between my stops. What? The cop still is there. Okay, that's great. But, yeah, I was thinking about earlier in my, I guess, flatbed career or what have you. I remember what I really, really liked, and I had caught this feeling when me and my trainer were first out just running around doing stuff. Hey, he made it, you know? Nothing you can say about that. He did make it. But, you know, I was thinking about, like, that feeling that you get when you roll away from a load. And this is kind of something that I guess maybe not many people outside of the industry, I don't know, I guess, I mean, thinking back to my old job, it was like that too, where I would finish something up that was tough to do, and you were like, oh, thank God it's done, and now it's on to the next one. Hold on one second, gotta pay attention. Not that I'm not always paying attention, but, you know, a little extra. Anyways, so that feeling that you get when you roll away from a load was the one thing that I really, really enjoyed in the first part of my career, and I sort of forgot about it for quite a while, actually. And I mean, it still comes around. It's just not nearly as often as before. I guess the only times that it really, really happens would be on cool loads or loads that just took a lot of effort. And I don't know if this is a flatbed thing or if it's like a industry-wide thing. I don't know if it's a just me thing, but for me, I connect it to flatbed for sure, because the whole process of flatbed is it's the best part about it. I don't know. I like going to different places that I don't know what they got going on. Where I'm going right now actually is, I guess it's a preload, and a local driver picked it up. So basically it's going to be all done for me, and then it's got, I think, 650 something, I don't know. It's got something above 650 miles, I can remember that. It's a pretty good trip. But the thing about flatbed that I really, really enjoy is the whole process of it. It's going to the places that you don't know, and you're like, oh man, I wonder what they got. I wonder. And you can kind of like look at the name, and sometimes you can get it, you know. Obviously, some places are like, whatever lumber, whatever place, and then it's got like steel afterwards, and you're like, you giving it away, what the heck, I don't know. I don't like that. I really truly enjoy the unknown of, like, you don't really know what's coming up next, and like just the unpredictability of everything out here. Like, prime example for this last load that I just dropped off here, this 3-stopper. Well, actually, this is a good example of why I'm an idiot, and also when it can get real interesting sometimes. I basically showed up at the place, and I had been there many times before, and I thought that I didn't have two lumber tarps, which basically you need to cover the load because it's such a big load. Like, it's just tall and long. There's, you know, a whole bunch of everything going on. But I was looking at it, and it said it had 3 stops, so I was like, maybe it's a bunch of, you know, weird stuff, and I'll be able to get away with it. And it showed up, and sure enough, it wasn't anything crazy. So I had to figure out how to use my big tarp and 2 small tarps to finish, like to totally cover the load and make sure that it didn't get destroyed by all the snow that I was about to go through. So it was pretty interesting to do, but definitely not in the right way, I guess. I don't know. It was just a challenge to figure out how the air is going to flow over all this stuff and how to keep like the elements from getting inside. I don't know. That's how it always is, though. But it was just strange because I didn't have the right stuff with me. I mean, yeah, like showing up to places and looking at stuff, and you're like, now what? What do you want me to do with that? That doesn't even make any sense. Good example of that sort of stuff is like construction loads where you got like I-beams and all that stuff, and you're like, really? Like, the trailer's just a mess, and half the stuff is like sticking out over the front and just a couple inches over the back, and you're like, really? Like, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that's like shorter than other stuff and longer than others, and you gotta like look at it and say, okay, how are we going to make this legal as well as safe, like to your own standards? And I mean, a lot of people don't like tarping. This is what I hear, but for me, it's another level onto that challenge. Like the trailer that I'm hauling around right now to go get this preload is a step deck trailer. The normal trailers are just straight flatbeds, which means that they're flat all the way across. The step deck trailer is exactly what it sounds like. On the front, it's as high as a normal flatbed trailer, and then it steps down to being about like maybe 2 feet high or something like that. It's not very tall on the bottom level there. And the most complicated part about tarping loads with one of these, and I mean, it doesn't happen very often because these are actually sort of designed to haul more equipment that are taller things, you know, just weird stuff that can't go on a normal flatbed trailer, but they can still be used as a flatbed trailer. So sometimes you get a load of lumber where it's all sorts of jacked up, and you got to figure out how to basically work your way around the whole trailer. And the main spot that is the worst for me, and I haven't figured it out still, is like the part where it goes from tall to short, and it like makes like a right hand angle from the tall part to the low part. It's like, it never works out. I don't know how to do it, but I'm working on it, you know. I don't get to haul these all the time, but when I do, you know, you just start looking at stuff and you're like, well, maybe that would work. Then you try it, no, that didn't work. Try something else the next time. Okay, that's kind of working a little better, and you like start whittling it down to getting it perfect and getting it right. And I mean, like, unloading too can be kind of interesting, especially with these multi-stop loads. Basically, with this 3-stop load and the weird tarps that I had on it, I mean, most of it was common sense. Like, you just kind of take stuff off here and don't do more work than you have to, and that's basically what I did. But as like, if they had given me this load when I only had like a month in, oh man, I probably would have done some weird stuff to try and, you know, get all of the tarps out of the way and it would have taken forever, but the 3 stops that I had with all the tarps and retarps and all that stuff, it took me from, I think, like 6 in the morning to like 11, which isn't too bad. I had like 100 miles in between one of the stops and like 7 miles in between another stop. So, I mean, time-wise, a total of like 3 hours unloading for all 3 stops. And that's not too bad, because usually a pickup or a drop-off will take 2 hours. So, mad efficiency this morning. That was real nice. But just trying to figure that stuff out is really cool. And then when you're done with it, that's the best. Because then you look back, your trailer is clean, and all of your tarps are exactly how you want them to be. You got all your straps rolled up nice. You got all your chains put back. Everything is in its right spot. It all is well with the world. And you get to roll down the road to the next one and figure it out again, or like I'm doing now, figure out, what I'm getting and what this guy, or like what I need to give back to him in order to take this load from him. Basically, we try and make sure the equipment that you're taking is the same that you're giving to the driver, so there's no, like they don't lose any equipment by just giving you the load. That's basically the idea behind it. And he's a local guy, I guess, so, I mean, that's pretty much all he does is get rid of equipment, pick more up, and go get more loads. Where are we at for time? 12 minutes. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if everyone else is like this, and I don't know if everyone likes, like sort of a challenge. That is the number one thing that I enjoy about this industry is the times where you get stuff and you're like, how am I supposed to do this? This doesn't make any sense. Like, there's just certain stuff. Like 6 months? No, it had to have been like 7 or 8 months in. My dispatcher gave me an oversized load, and it was only off the back oversized. It was like 15 feet off the back of the trailer, and I mean, that counts for oversized, obviously. But I was still looking at it like, how are you supposed to drive this? Like, really? Because there's so much swing, like so much, like there's so much of this beam sticking off the end of this trailer. How are you not supposed to like whack everything that's like coming down the road? And how are you supposed to make the turns? And that is like my favorite thing in the world, is figuring out weird stuff like that. Just different, weird, strange stuff that they just need moved, but they're like, I don't really know how you're going to do it, but here you go. I don't know. Maybe as I get more experienced, I'll start to not want to do all that complicated stuff. Like talking to my grandpa when I was back last for Christmas there, and he drove truck for 27 years, and like I was telling him, I'm already sick of like some interstates, like the 80 east of Chicago all the way until like Pennsylvania. The whole thing could explode tomorrow, and I'd be like, wow, the world is a better place, because the whole highway or the whole interstate is just so boring. It's so flat. There's nothing going on. I mean, I just don't like it. And he was like, oh, like that's the best piece. That's the greatest part of the whole country. Like, I'd ride up and down that all day, because then you're just chilling back and not doing anything difficult. So I mean, I guess it might change with time or whatever, but I don't know. It is what it is. But yeah, I'm sure I've rambled on enough. I don't know what the heck I'm going to call this, honestly. No idea. Because it's mostly a flatbed thing, I would think. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I'll figure that out. Y'all don't worry about it. I got it. Take it easy. But yeah, I'm keep heading toward this little preload situation. And yeah, I'll catch you on the next one. So y'all have a good one. Bye-bye.